Welcome everybody to the Pirate Skills Meetup. Today, one of my favorite topics, analyzing your way to e-commerce profitability. You can get all of the resources at getpirateskills.com/analyze. And I want to show you what we got in store for you today. I think you first of all need to get a grasp on why analytics matters incredibly more than usual in e-commerce. You need to do 3 things, in my opinion, to double your e-commerce profits from the side of analytics. And these are my 3 main tactics: improving your conversion tracking, managing your cookie consent well, and better reporting for faster learning. And at the end, we will have time for our Q&A session. Why does analytics matter so much in e-commerce, in my opinion? We're going to start with a little game in the beginning and then explain the fundamental laws of e-commerce and most other businesses. Let's have a bit of fun. Let's play Broker Billions. The challenge for you is this. You're seeing 2 Facebook campaigns here. Let me show you. Here you got campaign A and B. Let's just call them A and B. And you have to make a choice on every step of the customer journey that I show you. These are always screenshots of the customer journey from the perspective of the ads manager. How much money was spent? How many impressions did you get? How many people put something, went to the landing page, put something in the basket, checked out, bought something, what was the value, that kind of stuff. But you can only see into a certain depth. And we start at the very beginning. The thing is that one of those 2 campaigns is highly profitable and one is going to make you broke. And you have to choose based on the numbers you're currently seeing which one it would be. And it actually doesn't matter how much money has been spent on them. This could be, absolutely equal numbers. It's about profitability. Which one is profitable and which one is driving you broke. We spent about 1,000 euro on both of these campaigns. Here we got 68,000 impressions, and I want to explain the main e-commerce KPIs within this game. An impression is always when somebody sees an ad on the Facebook newsstream, for example, just seeing it. And this costs us €7.42, and here €6.54 for 1,000 impressions. That is called the CPM. So in this case, the campaign B looks cheaper because we get more impressions for less money. Frequency means how often have the people, the unique users that have seen this ad. In the top one, they have seen it 2.5 times, in the lower one, 1.5. And that results in reach. And reach in the Facebook world means how many people have seen it. So while impression is how often was it shown, reach means how many people have seen it. Based on this data, which one would you choose? Which one do you think is more profitable than the other? Which one is going to make you broke? Which one is going to make you billions? It's really hard to tell right now, right? Because you have so little information. You just saw the reach and it's like, annoying, Ben, I need to see more in-depth numbers. All right, just make a preliminary choice. Let's look at the next step in the journey. We again look at the same campaigns. This is A and this is B, and the same reach numbers, but now we can actually see how many unique outbound clicks we are getting. Unique outbound clicks means how many people actually clicked on the link to our website, to our online store. 490 here for campaign A, 291 for campaign B. There's a much higher click-through rate for campaign A, which shows that maybe the ad or the targeting was a bit more engaging. And you can see that because the CPM, the cost per 1,000 impressions, was higher, the click prices are pretty similar, even though the cost per clicks are very different. This one has twice as much engagement. At the click level, they have leveled out. They look pretty much the same. And now we see something very interesting, the unique landing page views. Landing page views means somebody who landed on my website and who consented to being tracked with Facebook pixels. Because you should be wondering, why do 490 people click and only 207 people land on the landing page? You saw this, good for you. And the explanation in this scenario is our cookie consent opt-in rate. You know that we now usually get like a little pop-up. Do you want to be tracked or not? Do you want to customize your trackings? This is what happened. Only 40% of people opted into tracking here. And now Facebook is only aware of 207 people out of the 490 and can only see what happens there. And okay, how much does it cost to get a landing page view? Now this one looks cheaper, number B. At this point, I would have thought maybe A is more profitable. When I look at the landing page view, I think it should be more likely to be B. But again, if people just see the ad but not go to my online store, it's worth nothing. And this is where this point here, this is where the Facebook pixel comes into place. There's such a huge difference between your ability to be able to track what happens after the click or only looking at the numbers before the click. It is almost impossible to make a proper decision. But again, you say rightly, Ben, we need to see deeper into the funnel. All right, let's continue this game. And now we have the same campaigns again here. This is A, this is B. The same amount of landing page views, but now we can see how many people engage actually with e-commerce activity, because just page views from cheap clicks doesn't help us. People need to be interested in our product and engage in add to carts and checkouts and stuff like that. Okay, now the campaigns fall apart. While the cost per landing page view is still pretty close, now we can see that the cost per add to cart and the cost per unique checkout is radically cheaper for campaign A. Only 20 euro to initiate a checkout. Usually people go to a landing page, they visit after that a product detail page, they press the add to cart button, then they say, yes, I want to initiate the checkout. And these are the two events we're looking at here. Now campaign A looks much cheaper and people have already went through this journey quite far. Why should you go this far in the e-commerce journey without converting, for example? That would be super weird. So my confidence in A has grown quite a little bit. How about you guys? Would you bet on A or on B? Which one would you choose, right? Okay, you say like, okay, but what about purchases and how much they bought? All right. Here are all the numbers. You can see your checkouts now here in the cost per checkout. And now people are finally buying. We are a bit lucky in this campaign because 100% of people who started the checkout actually bought something. That is not very common, but in this case it was true. And here 9 out of 10, which is also extremely high, was converting. And the cost per purchase is now a huge difference. 20 euro here, 40 euro here per purchase. The absolute numbers don't matter that much because campaign A just got a lot of more money than campaign B. Rightly so, because the return of advertising spend is more than double as much in campaign A than B. So what does return of advertising spend mean? If you invest 1 euro, how much revenue you get back for that money? In this case, it's 4 compared to 1.7. That is incredibly different. It didn't look that different in the beginning, but because now we are able to look through the whole customer journey, the choice becomes much clearer. But still, there's a question open. Is this campaign profitable or not? You could say like, oh yeah, but I get 4 euros. Yeah, but for every dollar you spend. But you have to also pay for the product to be produced. You have to consider shipping costs. You have to consider your return rate. You have to consider employees you have to pay. And now the margins get smaller and smaller and smaller. So at a return of investment 4, we already have to invest 25% of the revenue that we made into cost per acquisition. Is this profitable or not? That is actually something that I would have to tell you. But there's a little plot twist here. This was actually the same campaign, but I split it through Facebook and Instagram. It was the same campaign with 2 placements, each was nicely optimized. And in one ad, in some people saw it on Facebook and some people saw it on Instagram. And now you can see that the Facebook campaign, this is not a pitch for Facebook or Instagram, yeah? You can see that the same ad on Facebook did twice as much return of advertising spend as on Instagram. But if you would have looked at this campaign just from the broad perspective of the performance of this campaign, and you looked at this 3.29 of return of advertising spend, and I would have told you, as I do now, that only a return of advertising spend of greater than 3.5 is actually profitable, you would have turned off this whole campaign. Yeah, you spent €1,000, it didn't expect your minimum return of advertising spend of 3.5, let's turn it off. That would have been a huge mistake. Only after the split of the placements between Facebook and Instagram, and there was also a bit of money in Messenger on the audience network, but 99% of the money went into Facebook and Instagram newsfeed. You wouldn't have seen this. And now you're able to make a good choice. You can now choose not to turn off this whole campaign, but maybe focus on the placement on the Facebook newsfeed with a nicely profitable campaigns that doesn't make you broke, but maybe even billions. I hope this little game enlightened you a bit of the importance of your ability to see deep into the funnel and to keep digging even once you look at the end of the funnel and splice it and dice it by age, gender, target groups, placements, advertising devices that they looked on, and all this kind of stuff. Because the fundamental truth in e-commerce is this simple equation. If your cost per acquisition, CPA, is higher than your customer lifetime value, you get broke. You spend more money than you earn. And our goal is, with analytics, to see which of our campaigns have the opposite, where the cost per acquisition is lower than the customer lifetime value. And this helps you to scale and to increase your ad budget, increase your team size, increase the order volume. Understanding this fundamental equation and having the ability to track that for your business, that's the key. And you need to be able to measure that CPA, that cost per acquisition. And I just got some practical pointers for you here to start in the beginning. In the beginning, you want to simplify the calculation of your cost per acquisition as much as possible. I personally even ignore like personnel costs, office costs, and I just start with my average costs per acquisition in terms of advertising spend and costs of goods sold. I really try to simplify it, because if you start this whole, I have to factor in every pencil that I'm buying and the hardware that I'm booking, then you will not get ahead very easily in your performance campaigns. And the second suggestion is to start with a simple spreadsheet and to just see like how much money did I spend in my ads manager and how many purchases did I get. How much money did I spend? How much money did I invest? Maybe in ad spend and other things. And how many purchases did I get, let's say in a 90-day time frame. And this will give you a broad idea in a simple spreadsheet scenario of what your true cost per acquisition is. And as an additional help, you use your ad managers on Google, on Facebook, on wherever you do ads, because they are actually quite capable, as you saw, to show you a good estimation of your cost per purchase. But you have to consider that this is biased through consent management. People are constantly learning about more data privacy policies, and we have to be more strict than ever these days before we start tracking people. All right, but this was one part of the equation, the cost per acquisition. What about estimating your customer lifetime value? This is actually much harder. And I'm going to show you in a little bit a couple of tools that really help me to do this. But I want you to understand the basic math behind it. So what does customer lifetime value mean in e-commerce? In normal words, it's how much revenue do you make per customer over the lifetime of the customer. You may be selling sports nutrition in the example of Body IP, or a coaching calendar and workshops in the case of Klarheit, or beauty products like John Len does. And people hopefully do not buy only once, but maybe within a 90-day time frame, they buy 2, 3, 4 times. And whatever they order on average times the number of purchases, that is your customer lifetime value. But how do you calculate your average order value? This is the average order value. This is the first part of the equation. The simplest way to calculate this, and you get this out of your shop analytics, is to look at how much money did you make in net revenue without VAT, just divided by the number of total orders. How do you get the purchase frequency? You check, oh yeah, how many purchases do I have in my system, and how many customers do I have in my system? And then you get like a number like people buy 2.4 times in 90 days on average in my business. And you can see that the total orders cancel each other out. So you could just divide the number of net revenue in a given time frame divided by your total customers to make it quick. And I know that I'm oversimplifying here a little bit, and I'm not considering cohorts at this moment, but we want to keep it simple. Yeah, we're gonna get estimations of your customer lifetime value. It's already hard enough. But remember, why does analytics matter so much in e-commerce? You need to know your cost per acquisition and your customer lifetime value, not only in total, per product, per channel, per campaign, per ad, per image that you're using. And only when you get this balance right between cost per acquisition and customer lifetime value are you able to scale and double your e-commerce profits, which is our goal in this series. So if you want to hear more about this and also watch some of the videos that we built in the past, you saw that this is going to be strategies 7, 8, and 9 in our series. So we already have 6 videos uploaded. Go to our YouTube channel, leave a sub there, and watch the videos that might help you to achieve your goal of doubling your e-commerce profits in the future a bit faster. All right, and the next part is now the logical consequence. Okay, I believe that analytics matters. How do I improve my tracking so I can see my numbers? That's in the next part.